For generations, communities living along the rivers of the Amazon have described encounters with snakes of extraordinary size, creatures far beyond the scale of anything formerly documented. These accounts came from hunters, fishermen, explorers moving through the flooded forests of one of the most remote regions on Earth. For a long time, science had no answer for them. The Amazon rainforest covers nearly 7 million square kilometers across South America, a landmass approaching the entire area of the United States. Through it runs the largest freshwater network on Earth, a system of rivers, swamps, flooded forests, remote tributaries that has never been fully mapped. Each wet season, enormous sections of the forest submerge entirely. Vast lowland regions transform into what are called varsia and igapo forests, landscapes that remain underwater for months at a time. These flooded environments create conditions that favor a very specific kind of animal. And in those conditions, the green anaconda has spent millions of years becoming something the rest of the world rarely sees. The green anaconda is semi-aquatic, spending the majority of its life in or near slow-moving water. It hunts by ambush in rivers and swamps where visibility approaches zero. Using its body mass rather than speed or venom to overpower prey, it can hold its breath for extended periods. It feeds infrequently, sometimes only a handful of times across an entire year, then submerges and vanishes into the network of channels that cuts through the basin. Few large predators on Earth are as adapted to remaining undetected, and this particular quality has made the anaconda genuinely difficult to study, even when researchers know precisely where one is. A tracking study published in 2025, drawing on 12 years of field observations in the Peruvian Amazon, attached radio transmitters to multiple anacondas and followed their exact locations over time. The results were striking. In only 17% of recorded positions could a snake be seen without actively uncovering it. The rest of the time, the animals were entirely hidden, buried beneath leaf litter, pressed under riverbanks, coiled inside dense root systems with only their nostrils exposed above the water. These were known individuals in a monitored study area, and they were still almost never visible, which raises an obvious question about what might be moving through the parts of the Amazon no researcher has ever reached. The largest anaconda ever formally archived was recorded by the Natural History Museum in London at 8.43 meters in length and over 200 kilograms in weight. The record exists, but detailed context is limited, making complete verification difficult. The largest clearly documented specimen in modern field research measured just over 6 meters, recorded during the 2022 expedition in the Bahiari-Warani territory of Ecuador. That expedition, led by Professor Brian Fry of the University of Queensland, alongside indigenous Warani guides who had long known these rivers, also produced something unexpected. Genetic analysis of samples collected from the anacondas encountered there revealed that the snakes of the northern Amazon basin belong to an entirely separate species. Named Eunectes acaima, the northern green anaconda had diverged from its southern relative, Eunectes murinus, approximately 10 million years ago. The genetic difference between the two species amounts to roughly 5.5% of their total DNA, a gap wider than the difference between humans and great apes. That discovery carried an immediate implication. If a species this large and this distinct went unrecognized by science until 2024. What else remains uncatalogued in the deeper reaches of the basin? The Waorani hunters who participated in the expedition had long described anacondas reaching 7.5 meters and weighing upward of 500 kilograms. Those accounts, often treated with skepticism, now carry weight they were previously denied. And the question of whether individuals that large actually exist has not been resolved. It has simply been moved to a different position on the spectrum of possibility. The biological framework for extraordinary snake size is not speculative. Around 60 million years ago, during the Paleocene epoch, a snake named Titanoboa cerrejonensis lived in the ancient floodplains of what is now northern Colombia. Its fossils were first uncovered in the Cerrejón coal mine in the early 2000s and formally described in 2009. Titanoboa reached an estimated 15 meters in length, with a body diameter approaching 1 meter and a mass exceeding 1 metric ton. It belonged to the boa family, the same broad lineage that includes modern anacondas. Same constricting anatomy, same semi-aquatic environment. The ancient Amazon it inhabited was dominated by extensive wetlands and slow-moving river systems, even more expansive than those found today, sustaining enormous populations of aquatic prey. In those waters lived other massive reptiles, including members of the ancient crocodilian family Dirasauridae, some reaching 5 to 6 meters in length. Titanoboa did not exist in isolation. It was one apex predator among several in an ecosystem that could sustain them. What allowed snakes to reach that scale? For years, the prevailing explanation centered on temperature. Cold-blooded animals grow faster and larger in warmer climates, and the Paleocene tropics were significantly warmer than today. But many researchers now argue that temperature alone is insufficient to account for a predator of Titanoboa's mass. The ecosystem itself, its prey density, its water coverage, its stability over geological time may matter as much as any single environmental variable. And there is a physical principle relevant to the largest living anacondas that connects directly to Titanoboa's aquatic world. It is not coincidental that the largest animal ever documented on Earth, the blue whale, lives in water, for a snake that spends most of its life submerged. The upper boundary of possible size is higher than it would be for a terrestrial animal of comparable anatomy. Anacondas also exhibit what biologists call indeterminate growth. Unlike most mammals, they do not reach a fixed adult size. As long as an individual survives and finds sufficient food, it continues growing across its entire lifespan. That can extend 2 to 3 decades. Combined with access to a broad prey base, including capybaras, caimans, deer, and fish. A body plan specifically suited to deep water hunting, the anaconda represents the animal on Earth most likely to push the physical boundaries of snake size. Whether any living individual has pushed those boundaries far beyond current documented records is a question the Amazon has not yet answered. The historical pattern of reports is consistent across more than a century. In the 19th century, naturalists Henry Walter Bates and Alfred Russel Wallace both documented accounts of anacondas reaching 9 to 12 meters from local sources across the basin, though neither personally measured animals approaching those lengths. During that same period, around 1910, Theodore Roosevelt, then a former United States president, offered a reward of $50,000 for any anaconda exceeding 10 meters delivered alive to New York's Zoological Institution. In 2016, a report from Pará, Brazil, described an anaconda of more than 10 meters uncovered during a construction project. The account was never formally documented. The Amazon is among the most hostile conditions on Earth for the preservation of biological remains. Tropical heat, constant moisture, and highly acidic soils destroy bone rapidly. Most animals that die in the forest leave nothing behind. Even when fossilization begins, dense vegetation obscures outcroppings, and exposed rock layers are rare. The Titanoboa fossils survived only because they were buried in a coal-bearing sediment deposit at Cerrejón. Most scientific infrastructure exists near major settlements and navigable waterways. Reaching remote tributaries or seasonally flooded interior forests requires days or weeks of travel by boat, followed by research conditions that are technically demanding and physically difficult. Brian Fry's team described relentless heat and constant insects during 10 days of canoe travel through the Waorani territory. Simply to reach a region where the snakes were already known to local communities. The Waorani hunters who guided the expedition, who were later recognized as co-authors on the published study, had been navigating those waterways their entire lives. Even with their knowledge and cooperation, the expedition covered only a fraction of the surrounding habitat.